Welcome back to Celebrity Radio. It's Alex Belfield talking to the biggest stars, and it's always nice to meet gorgeous people. Debbie McGee, how are you?
Thank you, I'm very well.
Congratulations. Here we are in... Paul Daniels. Sorry, I must have...
International sex symbol and bodybuilder. That's me, yes.
How are you doing? Congratulations. Just wowed an audience here in Derby. You're on tour at the minute, and everybody loves it. And what amazed me tonight, there are more young people here than old people. You've got the young crowd, haven't you?
That's because I'm the same size as the kids. No, they've caught up with me now on YouTube. The word's gone out, and mostly because I've always been a geek, and I've used social media before there was such a thing. And so I'm on Twitter, I'm on Facebook, I'm on everywhere, and they pick that up. Then they go to YouTube, they see what I do, and because it's not dramatic and it's not I am the most wonderful magician on the planet style stuff at all. I have fun, and people like having fun. Last night was hysterical because I glanced into the wings during that final routine, and there was a stagehand rolling on the floor. I mean, literally rolling on the floor, hugging himself with laughter. And I thought, wow, that's cool. You know, it's really good. I like that. I would rather I've got to baffle them. All the tricks have got to be baffling. But above that, there's something beyond the trick itself. There's got to be an entertainment factor. And I entertain with comedy.
And of course you've got a line for everything. That's your great gift in this show. Nobody can floor you, and that slickness only comes with time. And as we sat down, we were talking about Las Vegas. It's the last bastion of sort of showbiz magic, isn't it, Vegas? Mac King thinks you're the greatest magician in the world. David Copperfield talks about you. How is it to be respected by people who are as great as them?
Well, it's deserved. And thank you, Mac. Thank you, David. Thank you, Lance. These guys are great. I love them. And the truth is, it's an oddity. We have more friends in Vegas and LA than we have over here in the world of magic. It's a kind of mutual respect society. If I had to pick my favorite magic, you just named them, and of course, being the comedy guy, I love Mac King. And oddly enough, I love my son Martin as well, who's very fast with the ad-libs, superbly fast, really good, and a good entertainer. He just did his first magical circle dinner and shredded them, so he'll be out on the circuit, I suppose, now.
I want to say nice things about you, but let's face it, the show would be nothing without you, Debbie. I mean, without your glamour and your professionalism and the 49 different frock changes throughout, I mean, it would be nothing, let's be honest.
Well, I must say, I do get lots of comments about the numerous changes, so I have to do it, don't I? That's what the audience expect of me. So, yeah, only 6 actually this time, but no, we have great fun together. So I love doing this show. It was all sort of new for this tour, so it's just been completely different, but we've really enjoyed it, so it's been a good tour.
Yeah, it's like when Kevin James and his Illusionists team, they came to see the show, and Kevin afterwards, who was a great ideas man, and he said, "Hey Paul," he said, "I've never seen any of this stuff before anywhere." And I said, "Well, no, I only put it together this last year, you know." And that was a big decision, because you tend to do like Mac with his, we call them fig biscuits over here, don't they? Fig Newtons, they call them, don't they? Yeah? And the wonderful cloak of invisibility. Well, like Mac, I did my show for years, and I'm internationally known for this trick with a cup and a ball and the chairs and the egg, lemon and walnut and all that. And the beginning of, springtime of last year, I just said, nope, I'm going to change the lot. And the only complaint I've had about this show came this week, didn't it, from a magician. One person complained. He was a magician, and he'd come to see the cup and the bowl and the chairs, and I didn't know any of them. And he was, well, I paid to see that, you know. No, you didn't. You paid to see me and Debbie's legs.
Do you take the compliment, though, that it's a bit like Sinatra in My Way, that we know you for it? And the one thing I would say about you, you're a magician's magician. Some guys come on stage and do a lot of pointing and waving, and massive sets sort of do the show for them. You're all about the actual physicality of the trick, aren't you?
Yeah, I am. But also, I take the trouble to dress a little. When you're touring, it's okay if you're in Vegas and you're doing a season. I turned down a 10-year contract there. And oddly enough, the fellow who offered me it is coming over in a couple of weeks, isn't he? And from the Tropicana, years ago. And so what happened was, I know that comedians, particularly nowadays, they go out and work in what they call a black box set. All you get is a set of blacks, So we carry the red banners and the white carpet, and we made a bunko banner to change the view and all that. And on one night stands, the venues vary wildly in size and shape and angles of view. I now do seminars for up-and-coming pros, amateurs, anybody who wants to come along and learn. And one of the things I teach is that what is the point of learning a magic trick that can only be performed from one angle? What's the point of that? Because all my stuff, I can do it in the round, and I have. In boxing rings, I've done it. In circus rings, I've done it, I don't care where the people are, or the cameras. I hate camera tricks. I hate editing to bring about magic, because you might as well employ an actor, mightn't you?
And again, there's parts of your show that put me in mind of Penn and Teller, who sort of take the mick out of the medium, because you do say to us things like mediumship isn't real and this is why, and you explain it. That means a lot to you as well, that you're not coming across as this pompous magician who's stroking your hair and taking yourself incredibly seriously.
What hair? What happened to hair? I remember. In fact, the last tour was called Hair Today, Gone Tomorrow. And I think the next tour, because this is the first farewell tour, I think the next tour is probably going to be called the Debbie McGee Shoe Fund Tour. I have no idea yet, but still.
Either that or a new rockery. There I was last week on holiday, and I get the Daily Mail, and you're all over it. You're flooded out. How are you? Are your frocks surviving?
Oh, absolutely. The thing is, the press, the media want to have a disaster, don't they? Well, we live on the river. So once every 10 years or so, the water comes up high. Now, from an aerial shot, yes, our house was surrounded. We were our own little island. But nothing was in the house. We were getting in and out every day. And we and our neighbours and our little lane were our own community. And when it does come up like that, which, as I said, it's not very often, we all get together in our wellies and go to the local Indian or go into each other's houses, and it's great fun. But of course the press want it to be, oh my God, the house is flooded and whatever. But no, we're quite dry.
They were very disappointed because they turned up with photographers and the house was all dry. Was that Debbie doing a ventriloquist act? No. And the house was dry and fine, so they asked me about other things. So it's just, we love where we live. We live in heaven for umpteen years, and then once every 10 years, Debbie says, it just, the water comes up, but the garden likes it. It's fine. And in fact, 10 years ago, it was much higher than this year. Yeah.
So you're thinking yourself lucky, really?
Well, yeah, I suppose, yes. I mean, we would just expect at some point it's going to come up. And the thing we have become experts at is what flowers survive standing in water for a week. Because that's the thing with the press, they make it look like it's going on forever. But we had 2 days where the water was that high and a week where it was sort of, just up to a couple of inches over the driveway. So, and to us that's nothing. And we have a great lawn in the summer once we've had the flooding, don't we?
No man is an island.
And of course they love to report how much your house is worth, and it is beautiful, let's face it. And that of course was down to the 80s and the 90s of you being two of the most famous, loved and popular stars on TV. I don't think it's ever going to happen again. How do you view that now? Were you lucky? Did you deserve it? Or was it the best time of your life?
I took a look at magic. I looked at me. I realized I was a product. I employed a marketing guy to get me on TV. I looked at magicians on TV, like the great Johnny Hart, who did the same act every time he went on, and I decided that was a marketing mistake. And so I turned show business into show business. And I'd already plotted routines. In fact, I opened a box just last week and it was full of my original writings about what I would do if I got on TV. And it was routines that I still haven't got around to doing, I guess, some of them. But when I first offered them up, they said, oh, these are perfect. How much do you want for them? Tommy will do them. And I said, no, you don't get it, dear. They laugh at Tommy when it goes wrong, and they laugh at me when it goes right. There's the difference, you know. And now I teach people how to be funny, how I developed comedy, because I used to be very shy, for real. And how I developed it, you can do it. I know all about illusion and dramatic magic and music magic and mind reading magic, only because I've done nothing else but read about it for 60 odd years.
I think also, which is what something I know you say to the young magicians as well, is don't watch other magicians, be yourself, but watch other performers who've been there for a long time or who are good, because that's how you learnt, and that was my background. Wasn't magic. I hated magic, but it was theatre. So I was taught a lot of theatre craft, which I was always amazed at what Paul knew without having the training that I'd had. And
it's only because I'm nosy. You know, how does that work? Yeah.
And also, I say, when Paul said he employed a marketing guy to get him onto television, is that, you know, some of the things that people never get to hear about is, yes, he did employ a guy, he, you know, and treated it like a business, but he also got this guy to sit in the reception of the BBC for 3 days and nights. He didn't go home. And he just, every time he knew in those days, there was a guy that booked acts and booked variety. He knew who he was. And just every time this guy came out of the lift, this chap that Paul had employed was there. And this chap is now an executive producer in television himself. But
yes, he is.
That's what he did.
And a few years back, the BBC wanted me to go to America, where I was unknown, to see if I could make a living. And they dropped me in Peoria on Thanksgiving Day. There was absolutely nothing in town. There was nobody moving, walking, anything. But by that night, I was on television. The next day, double-page spreads in the newspapers, and their BBC team hadn't a clue how I was pulling this stuff off at all. But every time I showed a trick to somebody, and they said, "Oh man, you're a really special guy," I said, "Really think so? Thank you very much. Here, if you think so, ring this number and tell them." And I was handing out local TV stations, television numbers and press and all that. And so at lunchtime, the waitress said, "Oh my God, I just love that magic trick you just did." And I said, "You really think so? Phone this number." So she phoned the television and they said, "We keep hearing about this guy. Where the hell is he?" And she said, "He's sitting in my restaurant. Don't let him go." Well, the BBC, with their mini cameras, taking secret candid camera type views of what I was up to, were astonished to see this team come in with full-size TV camera, lighting and everything, and I did the interview. So by the next night, I was doing a comedy club that another guy on the bill had been trying for 8 months to get onto. It's marketing. That's what it is.
But isn't it also that you were the first to do it? I mean, it's all very well you telling 1,000 people what you did and how they can achieve it, but you were the first couple on TV that people fell in love with. That was fun. Seeing the way that you performed was fun. And of course, you'd learnt your craft. I think that's where it's gone wrong now. People want to be a star without necessarily having the talent to pull it off.
Magically, your main problem now is for a decade or more, they've all focused on close-up magic. Oh, you know, they think it's wonderful. That's the easiest form of magic to do, close-up magic. The most difficult form is walking onto a stage. Cabaret club, well, I learned in the working men's club, still stages, you know, where they really let you know. And so, for me, if you can only do one thing in magic, you really are missing the hobby. It's a fabulous hobby. You should try it all, and you might find something else you like. And also, you got more to market. You know, if somebody comes along and says, "Can you make a JCB excavator appear?" I said yes. I did. I said yes. And Debbie said, when the man had gone, "How are you going to do that?" I said, "I don't know yet, but I'll invent something." And I did. And I made this damn big thing appear. So I couldn't have done that if I'd stuck just doing card tricks. And I think that is the problem with a lot of television magic now.